are back on the mics, spitting the raw, the real, with my favorite co-host, Darian Healy. Darian, what is good today? Happy Friday.
That was a really unique intro, Joey. Very different than our normal. Liked it.
Let me get back to the regular intro. Welcome back to the Train Well podcast, where we inspire you to move more, get stronger, and have fun. What are we talking about today, D?
We're going to talk about supplements, a very controversial topic, I think. I think a lot of people have opinions on supplements. There's a lot of supplements claiming a lot of stuff out there, and we're going to break it down. Obviously, we're not registered dietitians. We're not nutritionists. We're just going to give you some info about supplements, and you can make your own decisions about what you want to try or not try.
Totally, D. Well said. Yeah, we're not registered dietitians. And I told Darian that this morning on the news, there was all this fun facts, which I'm going to read here about supplementation. But it's basically this bigwig doctor coming on. And I wanted to tell the listener, make sure that the doctor is involved with the supplements. Okay, there's a reason why supplements are responsible for 23,000 ER visits each year. So whatever you're taking, okay, make sure that your doctor is aware of it. Make sure that you are approved to take it. For example, magnesium, it can be great, but if you have bad kidney function, that's bad. Or calcium, if you're prone to kidney stones, like it could be really bad for that. And like we'll talk about creatine today too, and like it can cause weight gain. So there's goods and bads. Long story short, there's just trade-offs. I think like there's good and bad to everything, and it always depends. So please make sure your doctor is aware.
Well, I also wanted to say that that's a really good point, because actually there are certain medications. If you're on certain medications, you can't take them, mix them with vitamins. I was actually on a medication in which it said not to take within 2 to 3 hours of vitamins. So it is really important, especially if you're on medications, to consult your doctor as well if you are deciding to take supplements.
I should tell this, that the main headline of this whole news thing was supplements outsell the vitamins in the U.S. Americans spend, how much do you think each year on dietary supplements, D?
Like an individual or like a total?
Total.
Like $3 million?
$60 billion, according to the National Institute of Health. 57% of adults age 20 and over take a supplement. 67% of adults 60 over take a supplement. Multivitamins most popular, second vitamin D, third fish oil or omega-3s. We'll talk about that. I want to talk about how the FDA very lightly regulates these. They only monitor them very, very loosely. We'll talk about what you should look for. And last fun fact here is the supplement industry accounts for 383,000 US jobs and 18 billion in wages. So something to talk about for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's probably a lot of information to sift through out there on the internet. So we'll just break it down, give you some info. So I'll tell you about creatine. So creatine is actually this is, I think, an underrated supplement, but like we said, you got to decide for yourself whether these supplements are right for you or not. But this is actually, of all the performance supplements, creatine monohydrate is one of the most studied supplement that is out there, and kind of overwhelmingly shows that there is a positive benefit to taking creatine. So you're going to see some of the benefits are it helps to build strength, power, lean muscle mass, great for performance. I mean, anecdotally, I have friends who take creatine, and multiple of them tell me that they just feel like they're recovering faster and better. And it's kind of like they have this sense, like the way they describe it is like, it's not like they feel some big difference when they take creatine, but just all of a sudden they start noticing in the gym, like things just don't feel as hard. Like it starts to feel a little easier, like you could do more. And it's not quite as huge of an effort. So creatine is great, especially for the perimenopause population. We talked about that when we did our perimenopause episode, how important creatine is, because it's so important to preserve and build that lean muscle mass.
And you were taking creatine too, D. What supplements are you taking right now?
Yeah, I take creatine. Oh, and the cognitive benefits. I didn't even mention
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like there is really strong evidence that supports cognitive benefits with taking creatine. So I take creatine. I've been a little off my game with my supplements. Usually I'm very regimented about what I'm taking, but I've been a little off my game. But I'm taking a creatine and I just mix it with my green powder. I take a green powder from a brand called Live It Up, which of course we're not sponsored by them or anything, but I love it. It tastes so good with ice water. It's so nice. So that's what I take.
So you take creatine, a green supplement, anything else?
No, that's all. I was very diligently taking vitamin D, which we're about to talk about vitamin D, so we can get right into that. But I think it's really just came down to like I got lazy with my supplements. I need to get back on it.
Yeah, I can get lazy with supplements too, for sure. All right, vitamin D, overrated, underrated, massively underrated. Vitamin D is one of those things that even though you're outside a lot, it's a question of whether you can absorb it. Fun fact, vitamin D is best absorbed when you pair it with K2, okay? And manufacturers combine the two. I love Athletic Greens, and it's just a little droplet thing you can do. I take 1 to 2 drops a day. It's about 2,000 IUs. But vitamin D, super underrated. I encourage all my clients to go get a blood panel, and you have to request what your vitamin D is. I believe the appropriate range is 30 to 100. If you're active, you need to be at least like high 40s, 50s, 60s. And all the influencers talk about how important vitamin D is. Double check what your resting vitamin D hydroxy is. That's the actual blood test you want to go for, and pair it with K2 for absorption. Last thing on vitamin D, it's really determined on your latitude. So I always joke with people, if you're north of Atlanta in the United States, you need to be supplementing vitamin D.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really good one. Another great one for perimenopause as well.
All
And
these,
I like that you mentioned blood work because you can get all these levels checked, like your vitamin and mineral levels checked when you do your blood work. So that could be very really informative in choosing what you might decide to take.
yeah, like that. This is why I said beforehand, get your doctor involved. Although some doctors can kind of be woo woo, just make sure they're up to date, up to speed on the supplement, and they'll guide you. They'll take your blood work for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next one we're going to talk about is protein. Now, obviously, protein is found in uh, foods, all different types of foods. You're going to find protein. But a lot of people also additionally will add in a protein powder. So whether that's a whey protein or a non-animal product protein, a lot of people will have like a pea protein or something along those lines, or a hemp protein. I think obviously I don't want to say like underrated or overrated because this one's so dependent on the individual, right? So I think if protein's vital, we all need protein whether or not we eat animal products or we're veggie based, we all need protein. So if you are not getting in enough protein, I think a protein supplement is really important, could be really important for you. And you want to make sure that the protein supplement you're taking, I mean, obviously do your research. You want to make sure it's like an absorbable protein, that it's a high quality protein. So if you're not getting enough, I think a protein supplement can be really great. Even if you're just one of those people who it's like I don't have time for breakfast in the morning or I'm not hungry in the morning. If you're willing to take a protein powder, that is a great way to just start getting your metabolism revved up and getting the protein in. If you eat plenty of protein rich foods, you likely don't need a protein supplement. If you're eating a serving of protein with each meal and you're prioritizing protein in snacks, you're probably good to go with your protein. So I would say if you're considering or wondering, do I need a protein supplement? I'm not a huge fan of like tracking calories, tracking food, anything like that. But there is some benefit in just keeping a log of how much protein you're getting in a day. Do that for a few days and see where you're at. And if you're noticing you're not getting enough protein, which I think a typical recommendation is like zero point 0.7 of your body weight, then maybe
In
a protein
grams.
supplement. Yeah, zero point 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight is the recommendation. So if you're not getting that, protein supplement could be great for you.
Yeah, well said, D. Um, with all these supplements, like it all depends, right? They're lightly regulated. So if you do pick a protein powder, my favorite top 5 brands, if you're listening. 1, Transparent Labs, and this is in no order. Transparent Labs, number 1. Number 2 is Naked. Number 3 is Raw. Number 4 is Ascent. Shout out Denver, Colorado. And then number 5 is Optimum Nutrition. It's not the cleanest, but those are really, really good. Heads up though, Raw and Naked taste a little iffy, so it's kind of a build-up taste. But yeah, that's great on protein. If you're plant-based protein, pumpkin protein is out there, pea protein is out there. Just suit what works best for you, and then always look for USP, okay, or NSF, certified for sport, because the FDA lightly regulates these. If you look at those 2 labels, USP and NSF, certified for sport, look for those labels. All right, moving on. Omega 3s, D. I think these are very overrated. Let me tell you why. I worked with a GI doc for 10 plus years, and he went to this conference, and at this conference, a medical conference, right, he went to a seminar on like the fish oil guy. Like this guy, all he did was research fish oil. And he basically said that 50% of the research says it's great, 50% of the research says it's not so great. So many health claims like the cardiovascular disease prevention, cognitive enhancement, yada, yada, there's just mixed reviews. All I will say is this: if you don't eat enough fish, there's a potential to fill that gap with some omega-3. Just make sure it has a great ratio of EPA and DHA. And also make sure that you're not doing the Dan John rule, which is add a fish oil capsule until you poop your brains out and then subtract 1 capsule. Don't do that advice either. So I think it's overrated. That's my take on fish oil.
So the next one is on the list is magnesium. Now, once again, I'm going to talk about perimenopause. We're hearing about this one in the perimenopause world all the time. And I would say it's underrated. I think you can get a lot of benefit from taking a magnesium supplement. I think especially around hormonal transitions. And I think a lot of the reason that it's recommended, I mean, it's suggested a lot. I mean, of course, we can't say it enough. Make sure you're consulting your doctor in whatever decision you're making, but it is recommended a lot with prenatal clients or pregnant patients and in perimenopause. And the reason for that is, one, in pregnancy, you get a lot of cramping. I experienced this. Oh my gosh, I got Charlie horses in my calves, in my feet, like every single night when I was pregnant with my first kiddo. And then I started taking, my doctor suggested taking a magnesium supplement. No more cramping. It was wild. Now, I'm sure it doesn't work that well for everyone, but for me, it was like, oh my gosh, I could sleep through the night and I wasn't getting insane cramps. But it is recommended because it is helpful for sleep as well. So in perimenopause, during that hormonal transition, sleep is really hard to come by. So if you are struggling, that could be a first step that you take. That is, you can find magnesium supplements over the counter. There's a brand called Calm, which is like a powdered magnesium supplement that is designed to help you relax, wind down in the evening, and is helpful for sleep. So I think with all of these things, you can find magnesium in foods. I just think a lot of people are not getting enough magnesium through their diet, and in which case you would want to supplement with that. But with magnesium, I think even if you are getting enough magnesium in the diet, there are benefits to still continuing to supplement with it.
We should pause here because all real food overrides supplements by far. These are just made for insurance policy of gaps in your nutrition. So that I should have started with that. But fun fact about magnesium, there's 7 different types of magnesium. I don't know which magnesium the doctor was having you take, but the only company that I've found that has manufactured all 7 in one capsule is a company called Bioptimizers. We're not endorsed by them or anything, but all 7 types, it's relatively inexpensive. It's only like $40 for 90 capsules or that. But check out Bioptimizers to get all 7 different types of magnesium in one capsule. You'll be good to go. Next up, multivitamin. Hugely overrated. Reading a quick thing here. Many large studies and meta-analyses have struggled to show strong, consistent benefits of multivitamins for reducing mortality, preventing chronic disease or significantly improving outcomes in healthy adults. The problem I had with multis is my pee was like engine coolant color because I would
The
take it.
B.
Right. And if you don't have a timed release multivitamin, timed release is like your body holds onto it and slowly releases those. You're just leaking all of it out because a lot of vitamins are water soluble except for A, D, E, and K, right? So massively overrated. If you must take a multivitamin, at least check the ingredients, at least check with your doctor, have them approve it or disapprove it or meet with your RD. But overall, highly overrated.
Now, I said because of the B vitamin in it. What did you say?
Yeah, the riboflavin from vitamin B makes that pee a certain color.
I had to stop taking vitamin B strictly because, maybe this is embarrassing, but my pee was like radioactive color. And it makes your pee smell. Like if you smell the vitamin bottle of a vitamin B, that's identical to what your pee will smell like. I couldn't handle it. It was too much. I had to stop taking it. Not worth it. Just kidding. But if you are vegan, I think B vitamins is the one that is highly recommended because you can't get B12 if you're not eating animal products, I believe.
That's number 9 on the list. You want to keep going with Bs?
Well, let's skip ahead to number 9, B vitamins. So, B vitamins, I was taking quite a lot because I was a vegan for about 3.5 years. So, that is one of those vitamins that is hard to come by if you're not eating, or can be hard to come by if you're not eating animal products. So, taking a B complex, if you are more veggie based, is going to be a really good idea for you. So, if you are not getting B vitamins through diet, if you are more veggie based, definitely recommend a B complex. However, if you do have a varied diet, and I think that's true with a lot of these, especially the multivitamin we just talked about. If you have a varied diet, you're eating animal products, you're eating fruits and veggies, you're eating dairy, you're likely going to get enough of these vitamins in your diet if you're eating those whole food sources. So I don't think a B vitamin is like essential at all. I mean, none of these are essential, right? Probably to take in a supplement form. There's other ways we could get these vitamins and minerals, but yeah, for veggie based, something to consider.
Okay, branched chain amino acids, otherwise known as BCAAs, leucine, isoleucine, and valine. The most important of those 3 is leucine. Just remember, I love leucine, especially for muscle protein synthesis. It's basically building muscle, okay? I think branched chains are highly overrated because I believe essential amino acids are even more important, but there's always the it depends. So if you're in a very low protein diet, if you're you're rehabbing from an injury and you're not getting the protein you need, then definitely. Or if you're training fasted all the time, which we know now, right, for women in perimenopause isn't the best. Check out Stacey Sims. But we know that branched chains can have their place, but just eat chicken breast. Like one chicken breast has already like almost half the amount of a scoop of branched chain has, and 2 chicken breasts a day isn't that hard to ask for. So branched chains overrated. Check out essential aminos first.
Yeah, the next one on our list is pre-workout. I don't even need to read, anything about pre-workout to know from my personal experience that it is extremely overrated. It's just my personal experience. I know a lot of people do like pre-workout. I think probably there might be some benefits if you are maybe in the bodybuilding community, powerlifting community, you're lifting really heavy weights, you're doing long sessions. Pre-workout might help. But if you're the average gym goer, I don't think you're going to need a pre-workout. The main benefit of a pre-workout usually comes from caffeine. You could probably get the same benefit if you drink a cup of coffee before your workout. So I would suggest if you do want a little pick me up before workout, maybe coffee, tea is the way to go, something with caffeine. But the type of caffeine that's usually found in a pre-workout tends to have some more side effects to it and can cause jitteriness, increase in heart rate, can disturb your sleep. I personally experienced that when I have tested taking pre-workouts. I felt messed up. Like my heart rate was out of control. This is one of those supplements that I find there's a lot of advertising behind, really trying to like market the benefits of a pre-workout. And I'm usually a little wary of things that have a lot of marketing behind them. If they were really that great, why do we need all the gimmicks, showy, flashy ads, things like that? I mean, if you're a healthy individual, you talk to your doctor and you want to try it out, see how you feel, yeah, go for it, but probably not needed.
Yeah, well said, D. Beta alanine is another ingredient in pre-workout drinks or pre-workout supplements. And there is some research that beta alanine is a very key performance enhancing supplements. But the only thing is it makes you feel like, you ever take a pre-workout and you get like fuzziness in your nose or your ears? It is good. I mean, if you really want to get hyped, you should try the NCAA track stack. Stacy Sims talk about it, where it's 200 milligrams of caffeine, a low dose baby aspirin, 81 milligrams, and then some like 1500 milligrams of beta alanine. That'll get you going. Great boost for some high intensity intervals, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad we went through all of these. I think we gave people some good stuff to think about. And again, what's right for one person may not be right for another person. So, things that Joey and I have tried may not be right for you to try. And with everything, there are always side effects with everything. So it's not as if you can expect, just because something's over the counter doesn't mean you wouldn't experience a side effect. So definitely important to do your research. And there are some good websites out there where you can actually do this research and they will give you some trusted information. Some of those websites you might look into are examine.com, consumerlab.com, the Office of Dietary Supplements, all places you can go. Even if you just do, a quick search, you can find some really reputable websites who review and break down supplement information so you can continue to do your own research.
Yeah, well said, D. Thanks for giving us those links to check it out. Again, just make sure get your blood work done. Okay, see what's going on under the hood first and foremost before you start doing what Jane Fonda recommends or Jessica Biel recommends, etc. And I wanted to mention some really good brands here. Okay, these are brands I actually use. So I use Thorne. Thorne is amazing. Pure Encapsulations and Nature Made, Transparent Labs, and there's a couple others here. Garden of Life, Now Foods. So check those out. Okay, don't necessarily think that the cheapest supplement is going to be the best, and check out those labels for USP and NSF certified.
Thank you all for listening. We always appreciate that you come back to the podcast week after week, and we'll talk to you next time.